Welcome to the Dropkicks podcast, episode 2. I'm Mr. Freechman.
Fucking idiot.
Seth,
I'm Mr. Tony.
and also we got a special guest coming on today. His name's Nikout13. You've probably heard about him.
What's up, fine gentlemen of this special club?
He's a rather sexy
That's
gentleman,
right.
honestly.
That's
Kind of an honor to have him on. He's a good friend of ours.
Beautiful.
I'm happy to
Yeah.
be here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
You might remember
Also, it
him
is-
from such games like VR Chat.
It is very fucking light, by the way. It is like 12 in the morning.
Yeah, it's pretty late in Australia. It just hit midnight. We're recording anyway.
It's 6 in
Super
the
late.
morning right now, and I've been up all night.
But,
on the
we've got
start of
Mr.
a day.
Nick out here. He's a well-known member of the VR Chat community. He's done a lot of work on VR Chat. He's known for
He
doing a lot
worked
of
in
work
Warframe.
on Ark. Yeah, he was a Warframe developer, weren't you?
I
A
was.
former Warframe developer.
I was a former Warframe developer on contract.
That's right.
How many years did you work
What
at
was that?
Warframe for?
I would say 1 year specifically.
1 year?
A little bit more because of the internship I had the
Fantastic.
first time with 2017 when I moved to London. It's a
Awesome.
fake London, so
What was your role at the studio?
my role at the studio was a junior lighting artist. This is
Oh, yeah?
this is the time where you started it, and that was one of the offers that I got back when I was at British Columbia taking classes, specifically in digital art and architectural engineering, and I just been doing, let's say, majority of my free time was either playing. You know me. I play a lot of games during my free time, but at the same time I was
Video
also
games,
modding.
do you play?
sporting models,
And
everything.
I was participating in Steam Workshop item distributions, as in uploads for like Dota 2, and just doing Garry's mod because people apparently love
Yeah,
seeing
you've got a lot
different
of
stuff from
content on the
different
Steam
games.
Workshop, haven't you?
Quite a lot, and I'm surprised that I have so many followers that don't stop following me because I don't do anything there anymore. Like, I don't get much time.
Yeah, what have we all been up to lately, lads?
Speaking of followers, let's talk about Ark Genesis DLC.
We've been playing a lot of Ark Genesis, haven't we?
Sure have.
It's
Yes.
been a crazy
Well,
week.
except for Tony and Seb T here, they haven't been touching it.
No, they've not been joining us, but me, Nick, and Gizka have been very busy with the new Ark Genesis DLC. It's been
I like it.
it's been incredible so far. Honestly, I was taken away just how much is in it and how much it changed the game.
Oh yeah. Although I don't like those insect swarms.
The insect swarms, we'll get to those.
Insect swarms have been probably one of the worst experiences that developers don't want to feel like you're safe every time. Whoever
For those
designs
people
this.
who don't know, Nick, do you want to give a rundown about Ark and the new Genesis DLC? If anyone's listening who doesn't know what Ark is.
Oh boy, where should we start? Ark started as an early access game back in 2015. That's when it was released on Steam first time, June 9th.
That's right.
I specifically remember this time when I started. I started a day late. And oh my god, this was one of the games that I always wanted to play ever as a kid. And I've never thought that would combine my DayZ shenanigans and DayZ taste. Because I'm a big sandbox fan. Well, we're talking about the survival sandbox games at the moment. And
Yeah, because Ark's
yeah.
a survival
Yeah, of course.
sandbox game.
from a
That's
sta-
cool.
Yeah.
from a design standpoint, it's
yeah, but
very
it's a good
basic.
game. It's not crap.
It's such a
Like
base.
DayZ.
You would sit here and think like, who the fuck designed this game? Why is it playing so bad? But to be more realistic, games like this can be designed in just a couple of hours. They don't require that much thought until you start
That's
thinking
correct.
about, oh, what's gonna represent, what the player is gonna even do here. Well, first off, you're gonna spawn, you're gonna create your character, and you're gonna make it look like a massive Danny DeVito with tiny arms. You can make it anything. Well, that's for example. You can make him look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, that looks absolutely over buffed.
I just want to point out, I love Steph's character in Ark, even
Yeah,
though
he
I
looks-
don't play
yeah.
it. He looks like a Chad version of Geralt
I've
of
had a lot of
Rivia.
people say
Yeah,
that
with
my
a
character looks like a
mustache.
Chad Geralt.
Geralt of Rivia, who has been busy sitting on Roach all the time. That's why he's got tiny legs.
He's got such long, lanky legs, and he has such like a short, short torso and small, short arms. It looks goofy.
I would expect him to walk like SpongeBob with anchor arms, just with his fists.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which one of the new dinosaurs do you like the most?
For me,
This
Yeah.
this is a really tough question right now. Genesis has had its ups and downs in the first day specifically. I've taken day offs as soon as it started.
Yeah.
3 days in advance, and that was because I offered Snow SOS, one of my good friends who is also a streamer, offered him a host for his subs to play on the server I host, and so far it's been really successful, and a lot of people have been enjoying the game with some of the mods giving a bit of variety and less grind, and giving better quality of life features, so you don't feel like you are having a second life to grind, right?
That's right.
But it's still great because
Oh, yeah.
they added only a few dinos. A few, I would say. So there is a massive turtle. There is a massive water spider. That's 2. Magmasaur, 3. And then Ferox, which is a little cute thing that turns into a working from World of Warcraft, but with 4 arms.
Imagine
a Ferox is
Like this.
basically just a gremlin. You've seen the movie Gremlins?
I got a better idea. It's basically General Grievous if he went to a furry convention. That's how I see it. And he also has a
That's
massive.
certainly an image.
Don't forget, he also has a massive ketamine addiction.
I hate to say it, but yeah, you're pretty much on point there. A
Yeah,
Ferox is
I
basically
hate-
a tiny little, it's a tiny little fuzzball of a creature, similarly a little squirrel with 6 arms. When you feed them a resource called element, they get an addiction to it. They're like a ketamine addict, and when they eat it, they transform into a giant werewolf.
Turn into a big monster. A General Grievous monster. Who went to a furry
Hello there.
convention in California.
It's like a werewolf. Looks cute as
I
fuck.
know-
yeah.
You really want to pet it, and then you give it element because it really wants it. It'll fucking rip you apart. Because it's it's basically Hulk.
It's the Hulk.
That's
yeah.
right.
I'd say for me,
I have
my
this-
favorite creatures, it'd be throw up between the Bloodstalker and the Ferox.
What about the
Isn't
insect
the
swarm?
Bloodstalker?
Fucking hate the
Isn't
insect swarm.
Bloodstalker that
I love the
That
insect
giant
swarm. That's the
fucking,
best
Spider?
addition to the game.
mosquito thing?
No, it's a giant spider.
Like the giant spider?
Yeah. Yeah. Blood.
Oh wait, it's that. Oh wait, no. It's that thing that shoots the web. Yeah.
Yeah.
You showed
Spider.
me. Yeah.
It shoots webs, and you're pretty much playing the Amazing Spider-Man, but in Ark.
Yeah, I saw that. It looks
Mechanics.
Yeah,
I was really surprised trying this creature for the first time. I was
It's similar to
absolutely
the,
impressed.
The swinging mechanic from the PS4 Spider-Man game.
That looks-
I think they've nailed it
sounds-
absolutely
It's
well.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Looks close.
You
Yeah.
can swing around the jungle on a giant prehistoric spider.
It's probably too overpowered, because there is a
Its
glitch that people
mobility.
have been doing. It's super mobile, like no other.
Yeah.
I don't think there is any better dinosaurs. Well, except
There
one
is
who is
no-
a jumping dragon, ice jumpers,
yeah.
Managamas from
I would
Ark's
say
Extinction.
as far as mobility goes, I think the Bloodstalker is absolutely ridiculous compared to the other creatures in the game. Nothing compares to the mobility of a Bloodstalker.
That's true. Nothing
Hmm.
does.
Yeah, I've seen it move. It moves really
It's
fast.
borderline
It's crazy.
overpowered.
No, overpowered in terms of the. You gotta also
speed.
include the fact that it cannot get additional armor. In terms of like, it doesn't require a saddle. It picks you up as if it's like a Dr. Octopus's suit, and it latches its little legs from its body into your spine cord, so you'll be able to control it. So it's really disgusting
Awesome.
design, but I love it because that's what Genesis is about. Weird experience. You don't expect it to be just like any other game, alien kind of thing, but it's satisfying. It's
Yeah.
fun
Yeah.
and frustrating.
Speaking of the aliens, what about the space whales that they have?
Oh.
yeah.
We have not gotten one yet, because I would say we could, even with the progress that you get in the game, it's really hard. They require you... Basically, space whales can only be found in a lunar biome. And a lunar biome is essentially space that you can teleport to and fly around in low gravity, jump around, and there's so many robotic dinos. It's just like 80s sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
And
until the sun comes up and it burns you alive.
Bionic dinos that shoot lasers out of their eyes. Like, not really, they don't shoot, but you can tame them too, just like any other dino. But the fun part, well, I wouldn't say it's fun. Like, space whales are really hard to get. If you do not have access to some equipment that, in general, it's hard to get.
Yeah.
We don't even have a space whale yet, do we?
No.
We're still working on that.
We're still working on that.
We've got to work on it. The space whales are probably one of the tougher creatures to tame in Genesis.
That's true.
It's easy to knock them out with just one cannonball, but it's a matter of setting up a pillar base with a cannon on top and getting whale to the proper direction of where the cannon's gonna shoot. And controlling a cannon is ass. It's not like Sea of Thieves or...
It is. It's arc cannon system is not great.
See, we could win if we had a paracetheum. Come on.
Oh, that giant...
Paracetheum platform settle.
Oh, the penis face.
The cannon on it.
So, for anyone who doesn't understand why we're laughing at what Giska is saying, a paracetheum is equivalent to like a giant giraffe with a big fat bloody nose.
Which is also a rhino. It's a rhino giraffe.
It's like a giant giraffe, and you can build a big platform on its back with a cannon, right?
I just said it was a damn giraffe.
We know,
You're not listening to me. You're not listening to me.
It's like you can build a platform on its back with a cannon. Now, that's all well and good, because the way to tame a whale is you need to knock it out with the cannon. Problem is, the whales are up in the air flying. Paracetheums can't jump. Paracetheums cannot reach a whale.
Yes, they can.
No, they can't. They physically cannot jump. The jump button does nothing.
Walk on the geyser and they fly into the air. Come on.
Have you actually tested that theory? Because I think they're too big for the geysers.
No, I haven't tested fly.
T-Rexes cannot be thrown by the geysers up.
I don't think a paracetheum would either.
I'm pretty sure a paracetheum.
But a Paracetheums are far more heavier than...
I believe it.
Look, what we're saying is Giska thinks he can make a giraffe fly. I don't think he can.
That's right. I can.
It's like saying, can a giant T-Rex fly?
If I pull that off, you owe me like 20,000 bitcoins.
You don't even invest in Bitcoin, Giska.
I know you did.
I actually haven't. I've never dabbled in Bitcoin.
I have.
You actually
got
did.
money back.
See, we've got one person here who has Bitcoin. Seth actually, to tell you the truth, viewers, he actually spent 20 grand on it and he lost it all in 5 seconds.
I haven't had 20 grand in my life. I'm
exactly, because you blew it all on worthless meme coins that don't do
Not
anything.
anymore.
Or he just spent it all on Final Fantasy, microtransactions and subscriptions.
I'd like to believe that meme coin is an actual Bitcoin.
Well, that's what people call
it's not
them.
far off.
I mean, there is Dogecoin, so that technically counts as a meme coin.
Bitcoin.
That is the most invested meme coin
cringe.
ever.
Yeah, Dogecoin actually has quite a bit of value, doesn't it?
That's quite a heaps of value, according to the Bitcoin
We're
market.
getting off topic. We're not here to talk about Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's true.
You've done, Giski. There you go again.
Yeah.
Gets
One more
assaulted
thing.
by the noise and hot air of my 500 Nvidia cards mining Bitcoin.
One more
This
thing
channel's gonna get fucking hacked.
One more thing to the Bitcoin thing. I can imagine Gizka making a Bitcoin. He'll make the toilet coin.
Okay, we're probably gonna move on, or...
I'd call them
Let's
urinal
move
cakes.
on.
Giska's legendary ability to derail the conversation.
Oh,
I'd call them
Gizcoin.
urinal cakes.
It's too late. I can't be laughing too loud. Fuck up, Gizka.
Yeah, we're gonna wake up our families.
I won't.
Yeah, we have families.
Wake up the whole country.
I have a whole family to take care of.
No, back on the Genesis. What
Back
was
on the
next?
Genesis.
Back to Genesis.
You're talking about the rhinoceros giraffe.
Yeah, the Gizka wanted to fly. That's not happening, by the way.
Well, I'm gonna try it anyway when I can.
That's what only quitters say.
If we gotta tame one, I'm definitely streaming it.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
We stream the giraffe flying.
What are the features that the thing had? Oh yeah, the giant turtle. Let's talk about the big old giant turtle.
Oh,
put inside.
I do. I will
love
say,
that thing.
I
They're
love
garbage.
The turtle, man. No, they're not
Garbage.
garbage. It's the first time ever we've been able to have a fully fledged mobile base. The turtle
No, it's
themselves, they're shit.
I'm not talking about that they are overall like they are at the base as a basic creature with the way with how they start, with how much health, how much weight, and one of the specifics as well to point out is certain creatures do not get attacked by smaller creatures, but turtle being as massive as a whale,
Yeah,
it still gets attacked by like it gets attacked by wild, for example, sharks and eels, and it's really bad because the point of that being
Well,
it's
this-
really hard
such
to maintain a tame.
For a Titanic-sized turtle, it's always getting
Yeah.
harassed by
So-
every small predator that it runs into.
Ark has this
Poor
system where generally larger creatures won't be attacked by smaller creatures, but for some reason, this does not apply with certain creatures with the gigantic turtle. If you're wondering, this turtle is bloody massive. So when you're cruising around in this turtle, you'll be out in the open ocean with it, and all of a sudden a tiny little shark is going to come up and start nibbling at your feet.
Although,
makes-
come to think of it, don't all the other sea predators also attack regardless of size?
I'm
No.
not sure.
Of
I've
jellyfish.
seen the turtle too. He's the size of a petrol station.
The
He's
turtle
fucking
does
huge.
not get attacked by land creatures that are smaller than it, though. I've been around on the
Of
land.
course not.
Nothing on the land attacks the turtle at all. It's
I bet it's 'cause
completely
I
sick.
reckon it's because they're programmed to ignore it anyway.
So I don't understand why something as small as a shark would go after the turtle when you're on the land and you just don't have that problem with any other creature.
Maybe they prohibit like sea transport or something. I don't know.
No,
See, I don't play this.
that's
game.
not the problem.
I
The
don't know.
problem is that the
Here's
turtle
thing.
gets
We can
attacked by
all
smaller
clearly
creatures in the ocean.
agree- We can all clearly agree that insect swarms attack the turtles.
Well, they attack everything.
It's
No,
really
they
fun
don't
to hear
attack the
creatures
turtle.
go.
I still think they're my most favorite dino in Genesis. They've added massive amount of depth to the game.
You're cruising
love
for a
them.
reason.
Dude,
Talking
I'm
about the
cruising
ocean
for a
biome.
Snoozing. Yeah.
I mean, the also one my most favorite thing to point out that I really feel like you guys will agree is story.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the
story's
story.
intriguing.
A lot of people don't actually seem to know that Ark actually has a very coherent story to it.
It requires
Yeah,
a
but
lot
they're-
of
I
They're
never knew
sandbox
that.
players.
You've really got to be self-motivated to find the story in Ark. It's not laid out for you like a traditional campaign. A lot of it's told through exploration and finding clues left behind to piece together the story yourself. Finding explorer notes, interacting with things. Sometimes you'll
It's
find...
it's just an elaborate Easter egg hunt, really.
just let me put that BuzzFeed kind of journalist thing. Story, it's a Dark Souls of stories, okay? You find items and you read their descriptions. Here you go, here's your story.
It is. It is like that.
Yeah.
That is true. Gamers can't read.
There's a lot of there's a lot of visual elements too. Places you can find, locations which might have things left over that tell a story. Ark has a very interesting story to it.
I got a question for you. Remember the first time when we started to play Ark?
Yeah, back in 2015.
What did you think about it when you saw these 3 giant towers? And as soon
Well-
as you create a character, you see an implant in your thing.
First impression, I mean, when Ark came out, there was no real signs of high technology besides the obelisks and your implant, so I kind of just had the theory that maybe it was a simulation or something. You know, we're in a simulation and you're just on a prehistoric island. That was about all I thought.
I thought they just did it
From what I've
because it is a video game, and most sandbox players don't care about story. They just want to build houses the shape of cocks.
Yeah, I didn't think
It
too
seemed
much
like
about
that,
it.
doesn't it?
My first instinct was, like,
kill
oh,
players.
maybe we're in a simulation. You know, those are just there as markers. But at
That's
first, no, I
correct.
didn't think too much into it because when the game came out, aside from the obelisks in your implant, there was no real indication of a story when it launched. It was very much just prehistoric islands, tame
There was a few
dinosaurs,
explorer
survive.
notes, but they were rare.
Yeah,
Then artifacts and the very first boss, Broodmother Lysrix.
it really started to get
yeah.
interesting when the explorer notes were expanded upon. That's when
right.
I think we all really started to question what was going on.
They
And then
released
when
it, which is really interesting. The very first explorer node that they've ever teased was in 2016 when Scorched Earth was released. Scorched Earth was a DLC released for Ark while it was still in early access, which, unfortunate for some people, they started to bash developers for like, how dare you release DLC in the middle of early access process.
there was a reason for that DLC coming out, wasn't there?
There
A financial
was.
issue.
There was a big financial issue regarding false claim on what's Ark's design, and these people claimed that they created it, and due to their financial situation and lawyers that they had, they were winning the case over the developers of Wildcard. Therefore, Wildcard was getting a massive hit, and during that time, as they were making Ark and they released that DLC, their company was purchased by a Chinese conglomerate company called Snail Games. Which-
I remember that.
As of now, they're using assets and programming and basically the basic kits, the basic developmental kits on Unreal Engine 4 that developers created for Ark. Now they're using for different games, such as PixArk, which is pixelated Minecraft.
Shit.
That is Ark.
Which is shit.
I don't know, some people like it. Then there is Dark and
It's shit.
Light, which was quite a potential game for the first 2 weeks, and then it died down. It's a
Which is
fantasy
shit.
game. I also finished like shit. Trying to remember the other one that they've done, and they completely destroyed it. I
In
don't
other
think
words,
it's ever seen.
they basically coronavirus their own studio.
So essentially,
Snail Games.
essentially, the Ark developers got into a lawsuit. They had to hire a lot of lawyers, a lot of financial strain. So they released the Scorched Earth DLC while Ark was still in early access to help pay for the legal funds.
I think
cover
they're
the legal
doing
costs.
much better than before. Like,
Oh, they
they
are.
didn't need to
Yeah.
make microtransactions. There've never been any kind of microtransactions, and they're
No.
getting a lot of money through Season Pass, which they released the second one for Genesis, and honestly, I found it fucking worth it. I've spent over 4,000 hours, and I do not mind spending another $600
Yeah.
on that game.
I will say so far that the new Genesis season pass is fantastic. Like the DLC, Genesis Part 1 has just come out, so we're still waiting on Part 2. Part 1 has been great so far. I mean, we've been glued to Ark nearly all week.
Oh yeah.
It's been a great.
Headaches.
We just been having a great community of people to
Hey,
play
and
with.
yeah, we've got a big tribe this time too, which is a bit different for us, because normally we'd all just play with just a handful of us in a smaller tribe, but this time we've got a Snow SOS Twitch streamer with his crew on the server, and we've teamed up with them, and it's been a great experience having everyone on
What about
board.
XQC?
We've got
Oh my God,
XQC.
you guys had
Yeah.
XQC on there too.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. Yeah, Seb, what you don't know, viewers, is that Seb T here is a massive fan of XQC.
Not a
Like, he
massive
would die,
fan,
Die
I
for
saw-
that man.
No, it's not true. I used to watch him like here and there. I'm not a huge fan, but it's just odd to see him playing Ark because I've known him for being like an angry Winston main. That's it.
Overwatch player.
That's
Yeah,
like,
it's
and
an
then Seb
angry
like
Overwatch player.
rang me up
He was
once
a
on the phone and said, "Please, God, get me an
Shut
autograph
up.
for it's for a friend."
Don't put words in my mouth. Shut up.
I love putting words in people's
Putting
mouths.
words in people's mouths is literally Gizka's defining trait.
It's his middle name. It's on his birth certificate.
Yeah, don't believe anything he says. He's a fucking liar.
All I heard
Oh,
was
lie.
believe everything
I
he
tell
says.
the truth.
So
Wait for that part.
I guess you'd appreciate it if we invited XQC to the Discord then, Seb.
Fuck's sake. Oh my god.
That's all
I'm
good
gonna
and
take my
fun.
keys. I'm leaving.
Seb's embarrassed that he's gonna have to meet XQC.
Don't worry, I'll ask.
It would be
for an
funny, though.
autograph.
I just said that as a joke. Imagine you had him in here and he'd be like pissed off at us for not playing Ark with him.
No, we got a nice big tribe. We got plenty of people in there. And it's been great. You know, I've never played with a tribe this big before, and I love it. All the like half the time we just spend bullying each other and tricking each other and all sorts of weird
Bullying. Being-
situations.
having Great fun.
Having great fun.
The Domino's pizza. Me giving everyone free haircuts.
Oh my fucking god! Oh my god! You guys should talk about the Domino's.
Oh, the Domino's
and
pizza.
Ark,
We've been
please.
creating so many just funny
Skits.
moments for it's little skits we've been doing for the stream. It's been amazing so far. One I want to talk
I
about
loved it.
specifically is the Domino's pizza that happened a couple of days ago that we just had absolute bull with. So what we did,
that was great.
well, me specifically, is I
Yeah.
went out into the middle of the bog, far away from everyone, to the middle of nowhere, and I built a fully decked out Domino's pizza. Painted up, we got the Domino's signs, we got all the menu deals behind the counter. It's full on Domino's.
It looks
That's
really
great.
convincing.
And
You put
I had
so much effort in getting these dice and painting
Yeah.
all these menu items.
it was
Looks
great.
accurate.
And what we did then is I got Gizka. I gave him a Domino's employee uniform that I just painted up
Tasty.
out of items in Ark. Put him behind the counter and gave him a bunch of electric cattle prods that can knock people out, and a wooden club. I said, "Wait here, Gizka. We're gonna do something fun." So
Yeah.
went back to base. I come running into base. I'm just like, guys, you're never gonna believe what I found out in the bog. You guys got to come see this right now. So Snow and his boys and Nick all gather up, and we go out into the bog. They're following me through, and then off in the distance, Snow catches a glimpse of the Domino's. He's like, "What is that? Is that Domino's?" So I take them all up. Everyone's just like, "What the fuck? Why is there Domino's pizza in the middle of an alien bog? What's going on?"
Oh, it's great.
And we were all just laughing our asses off because everyone was just like, "What is he doing here? Why is Domino's out here?" We go in, and they go up to the counter to Gizka. Gizka's at the counter, and Snow's just
Yeah.
like, "All right, we'd like to order some pizza." They lay out their orders, and Gizka just responds, "We don't serve pizza here." And
Serve pizza
falls
here.
dead silent. And then Nick and Snow are just like, "It's clearly up there on the sign. You're Domino's Pizza. You clearly serve pizza." What did you say in return, Gizka?
We don't serve pizza here.
Yeah, again. And at this point, it created such a weird atmosphere in the air. Like everyone was just creeped out.
That was like
So funny.
that was like a really well done atmosphere build up because Snow was
It was
super
such
confused.
yeah.
And
Anyway,
I started
that
to play along with it too. It was
that
like,
repeated
wow.
a couple of times. They kept asking for orders, and Gizka would just ominously be like, "We don't serve pizza here."
I eventually got bored
So
and
that
just started chasing them with a
Yeah.
taser.
So what happened
seeing
was
what
is
happens.
Snow turned around to look at the interior of the Domino's, and when he did, Gizka jumped over the counter with a cattle prod and started to hunt him down. So he was running. He was running around the Domino's. Snow is freaking out and screaming, and Gizka just responds, "We serve people." And at that point, it was just all chaos. We were all just running around the fucking Domino's, just scattering and screaming. Gizka was trying to knock everybody out. There was a big chase happening.
Oh, that was great.
He cattle
We all-
prodded me out of all people.
Yeah, he got Nick, took him out back, but little skit happened. Eventually, we all got outside, and then me and Gizka came out, and we told Snow about what happened, and he loved it.
Wait, I want to ask a question.
What?
Who was the random person Gizka was dragging inside the...
That was Nick.
That was me.
That was Nick.
He got me and
off.
dragged me and drugged me as well.
It was so funny.
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
like, time
great.
to make some pizza.
We told Snow
Make
about
some
like
pizza.
you know that was all set up. He's like, oh dude, that was great. If anyone wants to watch it, it is on Snow SOS's Twitch channel down as a clip. Dominoes in the Bog.
Yeah.
If anyone does want to go
We
check
can-
it out,
We can link that clip in the description.
I'll definitely link that in the description.
That's
It
a
was
good
such
idea.
moment.
Yeah.
Please
it's
like,
such a good
rate, and
moment.
subscribe to our channel here at Dropkicks Podcast. We beg of you. No, seriously, we really need your subscribers right now.
We need money.
Please, God.
You know, that was one of many great
Please.
moments we've had so far.
Oh, it's good.
If you
There's
guys make
many
a
more to
compilation,
come.
like
A compilation.
If Snow makes a compilation, I'll definitely watch it.
He probably should. Nick, you should suggest him to make a compilation because we've had
Yeah.
so many moments. There'd be
Yeah,
a lot to
maybe.
take out of it.
That would be nice. I'll mention it to him and see what he thinks. Majority of
If he
his
doesn't-
videos are VR chat, of course,
He
but
doesn't
Yeah, I
have
figure.
to.
If he doesn't want to himself, tell him that I'd be willing to put everything together and make a clip compilation.
I'm sure he'll be up for it because so far he's been having great moments to
Oh,
stream.
there's been a lot.
It's worth.
It'll
I think
make
it's
a lot
worth a
of views,
compilation.
Honestly. Yeah.
Everyone in the tribe has a really good dynamic with one another. Like Gizka's always going around just doing something really like trivial and cheeky. Like he loves to tranquilize people and dye their hair silly colors or tattoo them. Gizka's like Gizka's like the micro mischief maker of the tribe.
I also rename everyone's dinos to inappropriate things. Most of them words that we cannot say on this podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, he does.
We get banned. So yeah. Just remember the naughty words. Remember, this is a serious podcast, not a comedy cast. Okay. This is a serious
There it
podcast
is.
for serious,
There it is.
mature gamers like me.
Shut up.
No.
Oh my god. Oh my
You're
god.
anything but
If you're a
mature.
mature gamer,
Stop
you
it.
would be over 60. Playing SNS.
Yeah. They call me a goomer.
Why don't you tell us about some of the... Oh my
Oh my god.
Hey Gizka, why don't you
Boomer.
tell us about some of the shenanigans you've been making for us on the server?
Oh yeah. Wait, should I tell them about the House of Horrors or
Tell 'em
me
about
sneak
everything.
attacking people with the grenades?
Tell them as many experiences as possible.
I think.
Well, I got caught in
main
his
thing
house
I
of
was
horrors
doing-
as soon as I spawned.
Oh yeah, the House of Horrors was like a hidden. It was like a hidden house of mine called Giska Friedman's Hair Salon because I like to give everyone haircuts in that game. But Nikout, right? He actually entered the house, and then he fell victim to the numerous amount of traps that were left in there, such as narcotic tripwires and bear traps, and he got stuck in there, and it was up to good old Seth to get him out of there.
As soon as I
Yeah,
went
nice.
there, I realized I should have drank a whole cup of ants before I went in.
You made
was-
the biggest mistake going into that place.
Yep. That is
Knowing
true.
Gizka.
Well,
yeah.
actually, that's the funny thing. That house was actually made by me for Gizka.
Oh,
Oh
fuck.
yeah.
It was Gizka's idea, but it was my design. I set up all the traps, made it nice and dark.
And I think my other prank was also throwing smoke grenades everywhere and gassing everyone out. My favorite one was when I snuck up to Snow and I tossed a poison grenade at him, and he screamed as me and him passed out from the fumes. Yeah, his house was a real gas chamber when that happened.
Oh my god.
Indeed, it was. Nah, Gizka just loves to run around and cause as much trouble as he possibly can. Everybody loves it. It's great.
That's what makes it interesting, yeah?
It keeps it nice and light, something just for us to laugh at when we're in between being serious. Because Ark does take a decent amount of commitment and concentration
That's
when you're
right.
working on things.
Ark Survival is not a comedy game. It is a serious game for mature.
You make it a
goomers
comedy
like me.
game.
It's for mature goomers.
I'd say you do a really good job of making it a comedy game.
I
Thanks.
think Goomers is an official Dropkicks podcast word now.
What is the definition of a goomer?
Someone who's a gamer and a boomer who gooms all the time.
Jeez.
It's
Yeah.
gooming.
I'm afraid to know how many answers that question has if I ask what does it
Don't
mean.
ask for the answers, you're fine.
We could call our
Alright.
fan base Goomers.
God damn it.
Yeah. What up, my goomers?
Hello, my fellow Goomers.
Oh,
fucking
that's
God.
wonderful.
If they're under 5 foot, could we call them Goombas?
Alright, yeah, sure.
Isn't there like an Italian derogatory or something?
No.
Yeah.
It's not a real word.
Or was that goober?
Goomba is just
It's
a
a
made
good
up
question,
word.
but I think that is not a relevant question. Right
Oh,
now.
who cares? Oh,
This is a
speaking
gaming
of
podcast.
speaking of another big leap in the gaming community for mature gamers like us, Half-Life Alyx is coming out soon.
Yeah.
Yes, less
yeah.
than 20 days.
Maybe we could
Yeah,
talk
I
about
can't
that
wait.
after we're finished talking about Ark.
I think we've
Yeah.
talked enough about Ark for now.
We talked about Ark for 30 minutes, to be honest.
Yeah,
Have we?
we're already
we
over
have.
halfway into the stream, so I think it's time that the viewers listen to our thoughts and
Yeah.
prayers
Well-
about Half-Life VR. I can't wait to see it.
Final verdict, lads. Ark Genesis is fantastic. Go and check it out if you like fucking dinosaurs and painting people's hair pink. It's a great game.
And
Get it.
dominoes.
You know how many red flags you just opened up with that, right?
Oh yeah.
Fucking dinosaurs.
Don't listen to my description. It's a great game.
Last
You
thing
don't
to
take his
mention, Genesis has been super successful. That made Ark top 5th most played game on Steam.
Yeah.
Do
It's,
get
Oh,
it.
fuck.
it's in the top 5
Hell
played
yeah.
games on Steam. Go and check out Ark Genesis, guys. It's great.
Just get it.
It's good.
You're not exactly going to do anything else with that time. You're not going to compose an anthem of a generation.
Can
Well,
you
you're
tame
not
a
gonna-
T-Rex in Monster Hunter World? I didn't think so.
Well, there you go. See,
can't.
can't do that. No.
Either way, go check it out. Yeah, so let's moving on.
Right, back to VR. Half-Life Alyx now available now.
Yeah.
on Steam.
Yeah, Half-Life Alyx is what 2.5 weeks away.
I
Yeah.
actually just bought it as we were doing this.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Smooth
Nice.
move.
No, yeah.
Yep, Half-Life Alyx.
There was some
soon.
DLC.
Means we can
Yeah, there was some
finally-
DLC actually when you have Steam VR, you actually get little environments you can download and you can explore. Like there's a hideout, there's City 17. I only glanced over it, but that's on the workshop
Yeah,
right now.
pre-order bonus was the Steam VR Half-Life Alyx maps.
Awesome.
I'll have to check that out later.
Interesting.
They're like over like a gig and a half, which are pretty substantial, but they're not like the higher res ones I would imagine in the actual game.
We'll have to wait and
Probably
see.
They're
not.
pretty close.
No, I've got my order in for Half-Life Alyx. I'm extremely excited.
I don't have it because
mean,
I don't
I
have
was-
a VR set.
I mean, I was gonna get it. I might as well just get it right now and install when
I'm
it's available.
I'm definitely thinking of getting it because knowing Valve, well, since I have I have a weird computer. Like, it's not a bad one. It can run a couple of games very well.
It's a mediocre
but-
computer.
Mediocre,
It's
mediocre here and there. I agree. It is
It's
shitty.
old mediocre.
It frustrates you more than anything.
But knowing Valve, their optimization is very good actually. So
Yeah, and on top of Half-Life Alyx, we're also getting the engine for Source 2
Some
to fuck
definitely.
around with.
yeah, that's gonna be a fucking.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, that's gonna be a doozy.
Update to Hammer, more assets and ability to make VR games now.
Well, then again, source
Not
code is
really.
32-bit.
To not get
so it's
peop-
pretty
Not really?
slow.
To not get people confused, Half-Life Alyx is coming out with his modding kit, which is a hammer editor and necessities required to make your own mod for Half-Life Alyx. It is not a standalone source 2, as a disclaimer. It's only bound to the Half-Life Alyx, and you won't be able to
it's
make
a strictly
independent
Half-Life
projects
Alyx.
yet.
Okay.
For now. We don't know when it's Valve's official statement to get the Source 2 out for people who would like to make their own games on. They promised
Yeah,
Source
that's
2
definitely.
6 years ago to open public, but
Been a while.
it's been behind closed curtains for over 6 years. But the first appearance of it happened in 2015 when Dota 2 transferred over to it, and it's currently still Source 2.
I still think
Source 2.
Source 2 on Dota is like the biggest waste of an engine in the whole world.
Kinda.
I see no difference with Source 2
Yeah,
the previous version.
Not a good
honestly.
way. Not a good way to show it off, to be honest.
It's like they could have,
I mean, yeah,
honestly, they could have just put Dota 2 onto Flash and it would have made
They
no
could have
difference.
just. They could have just
Actually,
made
yeah.
like a tech demo for like Source
There is
2
a
for the
big
public.
difference.
There is, but here's the thing: you all have to look at this. Look at it this way too: is Dota 2 was definitely a bit of a testing ground for the Source 2 engine for Valve, because that then allowed them to update Counter-Strike to the Source 2 engine as well. Counter-Strike is running a Source.
is it in Source
no.
2?
No, it's not.
No, it's not yet.
It's
Wait,
not.
they didn't move.
Nah,
I thought they did.
I
it's
really
it's
didn't
still
know.
They've
in
never moved
No,
Cisco
no.
to Source 2. It's been Source all this time.
Yeah, it's been the same
Doesn't
engine,
seem
I
like
should know, 'cause
Source 2.
I played CS:GO within
No.
the past
Weren't
6
they
months.
planning to
So-
update it to Source 2? Like that was on
No.
the roadmap?
It was not.
No.
No.
There were.
What's it about?
I doubt
They
it.
did talk
Where'd you hear
about
this?
the Source. I don't think they've talked about Source 2 transfer at all, because it's been on its own version of Source.
I
That
distinctly
is the
remember
most-
another game that Valve was doing that was
TF2.
supposed to be upgraded to Source 2.
It's the
aside
most
from
superior.
Dota.
Is the most superior Source engine they've got, which is not 2. Because if they would like to implement Source 2, unfortunately, they will have to make it adapt to what's Counter-Strike supposed to be designed on. And I imagine it's gonna take him half a decade to actually make it happen. Because Source
It's too
2,
much
Yeah.
work.
Source 2 started and always was Steam VR. Steam VR is Source 2, by the way.
I could definitely tell.
And the
No, that.
Like, it's not the same
and it
engine.
started as a virtual reality project because Valve has been the most interested in it as soon as Oculus Rift showed up on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I remember that. Valve immediately went into a...
Remember when
Damn,
they
is it
released
RPG
these
or
hats, the
something?
Oculus Rift headsets for Team Fortress 2?
Yeah.
They would reward you those
Yeah.
if you bought yourself a development kit of the Oculus Rift head-mounted display and you would play Team Fortress 2 with it. It was fucking
That's
weird, but it was a
I
proof
remember
of concept of the gyroscope tracking and being put into the game, and you turning around would be essentially a mouse movement. And then you'd see people like Markiplier, I believe. There are many others that played horror games, especially with VR-mounted
YouTubers.
display. YouTubers,
Yeah.
Twitch streamers. That was really big. But that was 2014, by the way. That was that long ago.
It was a while ago.
That's like 50 in internet years. Honestly. Feels like how that's long.
And give VR 4 more years and it will become the mainstream of media.
No, I completely agree with that. That VR will eventually
Yeah, it's
become
still considered a luxury,
prominent figure.
considering its
gaming.
entry level point of
It-
purchasing. And
It is. I think VR is slowly starting to get to that point, though, where it's going from luxury to more consumer, everyday consumer
Well,
kind of
well,
product.
for starters, now that Valve wants to do like a full-fledged game instead of just some shoddy physics tech demo, it's much better, because that's what I've noticed with a lot of these VR games. It's just gimmicky, physics games or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
I
VR
hate to
games,
agree with you, but that's correct.
They don't have a lot
VR
of depth
Chat's
to them.
VR Chat's main edge is just the customization of avatars.
but the
and interacting with
optimization in
people.
VR is trash.
You know why? As soon as you give customization options to people, which is essentially limitless, especially in VR chat, expect optimization to be non-existent because people have no idea what this is, especially people with no experience. They will start doing so much excessive stuff without optimizing their skeletons, without optimizing their models as they're required. It's not about just poly count, it's about the amount of textures you put, the amount of materials, and each material corresponds.
Yeah, because you're essentially streaming
are.
somebody else's work through the same engine.
Because this is literally the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not exactly projection, it's in-game rendering.
Yeah.
And rendering takes all the resources for that. And the way how they set it up is gonna be projected on your monitor, rendered in your monitors, and you're gonna suffer if they have no experience on how to do it.
And you can tell if there's something wrong with their models when they show the low bar of how many, bytes download, and you discover it's over 200 megabytes that you have to download to render that model. Then you know there's something wrong.
Sometimes it's okay. 200 megabytes, it will take over some of your operative memory. But you gotta remember that some of them can be okay in optimization, but with certain triggers that they add in the animation sets when they do certain gestures in their hand controllers, they will be able to emit certain animations. Animations are heavy load for CPUs. And if they have too many of them, you're gonna bottleneck hard. Unity version that they're using for VR chat has not been the best to perform on multi-threaded processors. Multi-threaded processors, let me explain. The ones that have multiple cores, but not all of them are being used.
Yeah.
Essentially overloading one. Essentially, you have a processor that has 16 cores, like Ryzen, right? But you will only see 4 cores working like that. The thing with multi-threaded processors like Ryzen, they are focused on all cores being worked. All cores working at the same time.
Yeah.
And there are some Intel processors that are really good at single core processing. Essentially, they will just have 4 cores, and every single core will be able to work really good. The overclocked values of 4.65 hertz. I'm just taking it out of my ass just to make sure. You understand. It's pretty high. It's pretty high for a processor. But you look at Ryzen's, they love quantity, but the quality of each core is garbage. And they won't be able to run these products very well. And that's been the problem with VR. Not just VR chat. The virtual reality is taking so many processors at the same time that it requires more power for each unit rather than more units with less power. The technology is getting here. We are almost in the age where the Ready Player One is gonna become the main bedroom game.
Ready Player One. I love that.
Oh boy.
That's great.
I think it's fantastic. I welcome VR in open arms. I want to see more fully fledged VR titles.
But I'm still hoping that Half-Life Alyx can convince the general population that you can make a proper game for VR, which isn't just some gimmicky physics.
Well, who
game
sets the bar quite like Valve, I mean, they gave the same reason for people to get better graphics cards when Half-Life 2 came around, and even better processors, even back in fucking Gold Source Half-Life.
Nah, I don't think that was for that.
That wasn't much of an issue.
Yeah. But, you get people still complaining that, why do I need a VR headset to play Half-Life Alyx? Why can't I just play this in desktop,
Well, if you want to know something, people were furious at Valve when they said that Half-Life 2 had to be launched through Steam to actually get updates, and that's that was when Steam first came out, and people were angry about it.
Steam was still new at the time.
It was new, it didn't really have much going about it. See, that's why Steam's the best, because it actually pushes itself to be good, because it's been around for a while. But if you really want to get back to the whole thing about people rushing out to get graphics cards, you're probably talking about Quake 1. That was what actually got me.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually,
No, funny enough, Gold Source is based off the Quake engine, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
it is.
Gold
Yeah,
Source came later, a little bit later.
Yeah,
but
it
Quake
was
what
modified
started it
to an
all.
extent.
Half-Life 1, that game taught us that you can make a story-based first-person shooter without, because most of the early shooters basically limited the story to either cutscenes or just a big old screen with a bunch of text on it, and that was it. But Half-Life taught us you can do in-game stuff, like where you can just stand around and listen to people talk, but you can still move at the same time and shoot them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
you couldn't do that in
Half-Life-
Quake.
Half-Life 1 was really it was
pioneer.
it was super innovative for its time. Yeah, it had full-fledged dialogue and story to it.
And
It was like
and also
Quake with
pioneered
story.
bone animation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
That's true.
It's fantastic.
that's what makes it great.
It was probably
And
one of the
probably the
few
most-
games that presented facial animations next to Deus Ex.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
You could always see scientists scream with their mouths open, like
No,
you just
stop!
see their
I'm with the
jaw just
science
going
team.
down.
Gaping Muppet mouths.
I
You know
love
who
it.
ate all
See,
the donuts?
Unforgettable sound effects and dialogue as well made Half-Life 1 the greatest game ever.
Did you know?
Metal breaking.
Did you know that the voice actor for scientists is the level designer for Half-Life and Half-Life 2? It's the same person. It's one person.
That's funny.
Oh my god!
It's the same guy who voiced Kleiner.
I thought he was just an
that's
actor.
For a
crazy.
lot of
No, he's a level designer as well.
This is news to me.
That's crazy.
Well, it's like this. For a lot of, because when Valve was first found, it was a pretty small studio. A lot of the time they had to get voice. A lot of the time they had to, people who actually worked on in the company had to do a lot of the voice acting in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
like
that's the
in
thing with a lot
Warframe.
of small companies. That's the thing with a lot of small companies. They had to, the developers have to voice act.
Yeah, but
Because
there's a lot more
usually
creative
hiring-
freedom in that.
That's true.
That was the
Oh, yeah,
golden
you can
age of
get
gaming.
Exactly what you're looking for.
I mean, gaming wasn't even a word back then. It was It was a programming. It was a programmer's peak of evolution when they started to make games on floppy disks.
Oh yeah.
I remember the
horrific magnetic tape.
What was your first game ever?
Oh, my first game was like Commander Keen for the PC on Windows 94.
For me,
That's great.
it was Croc on the PlayStation 1.
Oh, nice.
For me, it was Super Mario World. I was like 2 or 3 years old, but I didn't know how to play the game. Just enter a level and just
What?
dick about in it. That's it.
My one was Jet Force Gemini, and that will be forever my all-time favorite game. Even though half of the game gets super tedious at the end, but I'm still blinded by its nostalgia for it.
And you notice how
I'm
the
not
first
kidding.
ever games that they were made. Actually, I didn't say it was my first game either. My very first game was. It actually started with a computer. It was.
Yeah.
The very first game was actually Fallout 1.
Really?
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Nice.
It was. My
Interesting.
grandfather was the biggest. He was the biggest nut in games. He
was original Goomer.
he was original.
Shut up.
Oh, he was 56 years old when I was 4.
Oh, wow.
He was
There you go.
he had all kinds of games that was ranging from Quake, Doom, very old arena shooters, strategies like
Wow.
there was a very old one that I'm trying. Yeah, StarCraft. That's one of them. The very first one. Command and
Good old
Conquer.
Starcraft.
Is Age of
And
Empires
Commander
among one of them?
I don't think. No, I don't think so.
That's another.
He didn't.
popular one.
He didn't like. Well, in Ukraine, it wasn't exactly that popular to get those games.
Yeah.
So
I'd
he will go to
imagine.
those bazaar. He will go to those bazaars, like the street markets, and people would just sell like pirated games and torrents
Oh,
on
yeah.
discs, like in DVD
Yeah.
boxes.
That's
that was
awesome.
like
Yeah.
absolutely fine. That was awesome. That's what I will always buy PlayStation
Were they all
games.
in 144p with Arabic subtitles?
No.
No.
God.
It's not like the ones.
Or
that
maybe
they
like
make right
Russian.
now.
Also, like fucking.
Very
I don't know,
bad Russian
Romanian.
localization, actually. Very bad, because it's probably Google Translate from American developers.
That reminds me when
that wasn't
Half-Life
even a
2
thing.
leaked. They got the beta images and put it on like sticks of gum in Russia. I remember watching a video with that. It was fucking
Oh
funny.
my god, really?
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Oh,
If you-
do
if
you remember that one time? Oh
Yeah.
wait, no. Continue. I'm sorry.
There's like one mention that I wanted to do before we switch is the localizations as soon as we started. Like you always expect the VAs, the voiceovers, to be very vocal, quality like. There was this one
Yeah.
guy from Russia that knows how to change these files in games, like he finds a way, and he would use his voice in a very bad Nokia microphone.
Of
And all
course it's
these-
a Nokia.
Exactly, Nokia, because he would use the I don't know how to say it in English, but it's the recorder on it, and he would use
Translator?
it, put it in games. No, not translator.
No, it's
Oh,
no you text to speech maybe.
No.
No, not text to speech.
No, not text to
That'd be
speech. He just
fucking
records
funny.
his voice. He just records his voice, and that's it. But anyways, he does the. He puts it into the game,
On an old
and
Nokia
any
phone.
vulgarity in English, he would make it super vulgar in Russian, and that would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But imagine hearing it on like a low quality Nokia phone
Exactly.
at the same time.
It would sound bit crushed to
when
fucking
I-
hell.
I sometimes go to YouTube to find the gameplay recordings of that with this localization. Oh my god. Listening to today is like listening to people playing Xbox Live and Xbox 360 and sweating at each other.
Oh yeah.
Was it the same quality as Xbox Live
Yes.
or worse?
Yes,
Oh my
it
god, that's
was.
awesome.
All done
Oh,
on a
yeah.
rotary phone.
Oh god, rotary. Yeah, damn it.
I would have rotary
Done on a
phone.
rotary
Like,
phone, which probably said "proudly made in the Soviet Union" or something.
Yes.
oh my god.
Proudly made with
yeah.
community. As in,
As I was saying, about the thing that Tony brought up earlier about the Half-Life 2 leaks. Do you remember that one time, like in Russia, like they were doing like a documentary about war, and like they were showing the various posters. Do you remember the
Yeah.
one that someone made a TF2 fucking poster and they put it on the fucking Russian documentary?
I do not.
The fucking soldier eating a baby or something.
I remember
I
that
was-
one.
Was it
That
that
I was watching that. I was watching that show. That was so creepy. I was at my grandmother's and I was watching the television and I'm like, wait, why is this baby from
That's
Gary
stupid.
Small? And I was like, oh my god. They were doing the documentary about how. I think it was about. No,
It's like
it wasn't
American
exactly a game
propaganda
violence.
and
Yeah, exactly. It was a
it was
propaganda.
It's like American propaganda. And like, they found an image from like that. You know that it was like that TF2 war update, like Soldier versus Demo Man update, and that propaganda was depicting the soldiers eating babies as a way to like support the demo men in the cause.
Oh god.
And the fact that these people actually thought it was a genuine thing and took it and put it on TV and said, "This is what Americans do."
That sound convincing. though.
Nikout's nightmare is seeing Team Fortress 2 on his TV.
I did mention on the baby from there was a baby from like a baby doll from Half-Life that was in one of the
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah.
It
The
was.
Half-Life 2 model.
I remember and I never watched the Team Fortress 2 one, but I saw a mention of an article. It was like in the news article in I believe Russia Today.
Yeah.
That's when they had that Team Fortress 2 war update posted that they put.
Oh
That
god.
was hilarious. Let's make a verdict. People need
Yes.
to do a fucking research.
Damn right they
when
do.
it comes to media, when it comes to taking something out of context that is video games.
Actually,
That's
here's
what the
thing.
media
Remember-
does all the bloody time.
I
though.
love
That's
it
Hey,
when
guys.
video games transcend real life.
guys. I just remembered it.
What is it?
Remember that one Gmodder Jetton?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh my God,
I Jetty.
yes.
I love it.
Remember how he made like that fake, ISIS recruitment video and
Yes!
yes!
No shit.
You did make
Even
it
though
to
it
a
was, like, the
video.
most-
To
It made
TV.
Even though that was the
TV.
most poorly made video in the world, the most unconvincing thing.
They thought it
Someone
was
in
real.
Russia, He
Yes.
literally
The
broadcasted it.
it felt like a legitimate joke the whole way through, and the media thought that it was legit.
They thought it was real.
That is
Incredible.
fucking.
They thought it was fucking
Guys,
real.
That is fucking
I think we-
hysterical.
I think we broke Nick out.
Bro, I'm broken, dude. I need a new replacement.
Wait, is that video still even up, or did it get
Yes,
taken
it
down?
is. Yes, it is.
That's
Oh
awesome.
my god. We have to
Watch
watch
that
that
later.
after the podcast.
Yeah.
Another
Another thing about, before I forget, I remember another video game transcending the news is when they took footage from MGS5's trailer with like the African children wielding guns, and they used that as fucking like in a news article somewhere, like a picture of it. It's like they assumed it was real life and looked convincing.
Fuck's sake.
Imagine if they used it for Coney 2012.
Oh god.
Oh god. Gee,
Oh my god,
blast from the
that's
past.
Oh,
that's
But
If
that
they-
wasn't even the time. Unfortunately,
No.
the timing wasn't
No,
the best.
because MGS5's trailer hit 2013. If it had been a year, that would have been amazing.
a year earlier. Yeah.
We would have appreciated Kojima for promoting
Yeah.
armed, weaponized children.
Our hero for stopping Coney is Big Boss.
Is that the bad guy from the Star Wars?
God damn it!
Sorry, I can't be too loud. It's like fucking 1 o'clock.
I can.
Actually, you know what? That reminds me. Wasn't it like a screenshot from Assassin's Creed 3 that got on the
Yeah,
news?
yeah.
Someone talking
Some-
about Saudi Arabia. Or
I vaguely
Mesopotamia
remember
or
that, but I
something.
know what you're talking about.
I don't think I've heard of that
I think it-
one.
I think it was like some journo wrote an article where sometimes games are so realistic that even the media like confuses it with real
true.
life.
You're fucking blind, dude. It's so fucking.
Oh no, because if you look at, because remember, there's some companies where they just hire people, find a quick image for
Yeah.
like a city,
maybe,
and they accidentally find one in a video game and they put it on. It's like
Yeah, maybe they
it's
don't
it's an
check.
honest mistake, but sometimes they don't check. That's what makes it funnier.
Yeah.
That's
It
what makes
reminds-
funnier though.
It reminds me of Mass Effect 3, how lazy they were with Talizora's face reveal.
Oh, I remember that.
They
God
just
damn it.
they just googled an image of one of the photo models, photoshopped purple skin, and that's it.
Oh, that.
Would it be
that-
considered racist?
Maybe.
Because
No,
you're
it's
essentially purple face.
That's inexcusable.
I mean, we're talking about aliens, so it's technically spacist. I'm not sorry for that.
I mean, it's still a race.
Not spacist. No, not spacist. It's xenophobic.
What does that mean again? Xenophobic. You're afraid of something dead.
You're afraid of xenomorphs.
xenos.
Wait, so what you're telling me that you're telling us that it's xenophobic to have a human colored purple just to represent a certain fictional race, science fictional race?
Yes.
What?
Yes, because you're creating a racist caricature of people of color.
You're gonna break Nick out again.
His Mega Mind
Yeah,
is
he's on the verge of
destroying
getting
my
broken.
sanity.
Yeah. Speaking of breaks, I think we're actually out of time.
Oh.
We've actually hit beyond an hour now.
Yeah.
It's
I really-
fucking-
I
it's
really
1,
thought-
1 a.m.
It really didn't feel like it. Oh, that
Yeah,
it's been
it
an
went
hour.
quick.
See, this shit
That's
goes
what a
quick.
podcast
It's
does.
because we get so involved in the conversation, we just like lose track of time.
Yeah, we're just having so much fun that it just goes by like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yes.
kind of don't want it
Anywho.
to end, but we have to end it.
Anywho, now, I'd like to thank you, viewers, for listening to the shit that we just talked about. I've already forgotten what we talked about.
We talked about
So,
Ark, we talked
I'm
about
just-
Half-Life, we talked
Let's-
about fucking Russian shit.
Wait, let's do with a quick recap. What I know is we talked
Yeah.
about Ark, Genesis, how much time we've had.
Half-Life Alex VR, also Source a few
Yeah,
Valve games trivia.
because I thought like
stuff
if you're
getting on
talking
the
about
news.
Half-Life Alyx, there's definitely gonna be a little bit more about it.
Oh yeah.
Judging like what I've seen so far, Half-Life Alyx, it looks gorgeous. Oh, Source 2 looks
I'm
beautiful.
so happy I got a Rift S now.
What?
Sev, we're running out of time.
Yeah,
We run out of time. It's
We've run out of
1:07 a.m. I'm more than
Not for
happy
me.
to.
I'm about to pass out.
I would let it go on a bit longer, but it's late. So.
Yeah.
No, we gotta
Wrap it up.
Yeah, glad you can join us,
So
Nick.
wrapping it up now.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much for
Thanks
having
for
me.
joining
We'll have,
us,
to,
Nikout.
we'll have you on again sometime.
Thank you very much for having me, and I will be really happy to
No,
be
it's
here
great.
again.
Very welcome.
Please,
no problem,
please,
dude.
please subscribe to us and please advertise.
Please
us on
subscribe
Bio
and
and
share.
Twitch. Please like,
Leave,
share, and
comment,
subscribe.
subscribe.
Please
Crap.
put it in your mailbox. Please give it to your parents on their birthdays. Please subscribe to us. We need it.
Oh my god, stop the podcast, please. It's not gonna shut up.
Stop the tape.
Stop recording. Stop the tape.
tape.
Fuck's sake.
So long, everyone. Bye bye. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Fuck off.